In addition, through training partners between the Guyana Police Force and U.S. law enforcement, we are working to increase local law enforcement's capacity to handle crimes of gender-based violence, child abuse, and rape in ways that both protect the victims and ensure that justice is done for them. Moving our societies to a point where gender-based violence is treated as the serious crime that it is will be imperative if we are to make sustained progress. I fully recognize that societal sensitivities towards sexual orientation and gender identity persist in Guyana. However, recognition that such sensitivities exist is not an excuse for failure to take action to ensure that all Guyanese citizens, whatever their sexual orientation or gender identity, can live their lives free of fear and discrimination. The societal violence, discrimination, and isolation that members of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and intersex communities continue to face unquestionably has negative mental health repercussions for members of those communities and their families. Guyana must take strong action to end stigma and discrimination against members of these communities if the country is genuinely committed to improved mental health indicators. It is for this reason that the international recommendations stemming from the Universal Periodic Review of Guyana's human rights situation at the United Nations have once again included calls from the international community for the decriminalization of same-sex relations, stronger police action to investigate violence crimes committed against members of the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender communities, and the adoption of prohibitions on discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity. It is the fervent hope of the United States of America that the Guyana government will act swiftly on these recommendations and move to ensure equality for all its citizens. In the interim, we remain committed to working closely with civil society organizations representing the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and intersex communities in order to promote and defend the human rights of these communities and to help them in the fight against HIV/AIDS. LGBTI rights are human rights. I would like to close by saying that we must lead people to a path of hope rather than despair. It is a shared responsibility, and we are all capable of answering the call to duty. It is truly a matter of life or death. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I now call on Ms. Davina. She would introduce our next speaker. Oh, she is the baby of TCV team, our youngest member.
Good morning, honorable members of the head table, special invitees, ladies and gentlemen, the media, TCV members. I am Davina Singh, and it's my privilege to introduce our next speaker, Ms. Valdo Lawrence, who has served in the National Assembly since 1997 and holds a master's in business administration as well as a diploma and degree in accounting. Over the years as a parliamentarian, Ms. Lawrence has held several key positions. She currently holds the portfolio of Minister of Social Protection. Ladies and gentlemen, Minister Lawrence.
Thank you so much, Davina. Good morning. I think she deserves a better round of applause than that. We have to encourage our young people. Thank you, Madam Chairperson, Ms. Ahmad, Vice President and Minister of Public Security, Mr. Ramjatan, charged the affair of the United States Embassy, Mr. Brian Hunt, Mr. Budram and Ms. Carter, special invitees. Today we are addressing a frightening phenomenon that plagues our society. We brand it suicide. Suicide is the act, as we know, of intentionally causing one's own death. And we've heard that nearly 1 million individuals commit suicide worldwide annually. and the devastation it creates makes it a concerning public health issue. However, before I continue to express my thoughts about this phenomenon, let me say I am pleased to be among people who are committed to this cause. To Caribbean Voice and its partners, Cara Hotels, to Save Abbey Foundation and Office Resources, Inc., please accept my government's commendation for your work, especially for organizing this stakeholders conference on suicide and related social issues. It is a much needed and timely initiative. Ladies and gentlemen all, we as a government view suicide as a serious problem, as the Vice President has indicated, and a threat to the development of our nation. Certainly, having the highest suicide rate in the world per capita is cause for concern. We're all gathered here today, and the reason we're here is because we have a role to play in the prevention of suicide in Guyana. People we know, each and every one of us in this room can identify with either a friend, a colleague, brother, sister, and other family members, or someone in our community who have reached that point where they felt that there was nothing else or no one else that they can turn to. As we've heard from Mr. Hunt, that there is a sense of hopelessness in persons who commit suicide because they feel they need to escape their pain and suffering, and they decide to take their own lives because too many times we're too caught up in the important things that we're doing to listen. Most suicide victims are young people in their productive years. We will never know their full potential. The role of social factors in suicidal has long been established, and understanding the cultural, sociological issues underlying suicidal behavior is critical to prevention. And as a result, we as a people have to stop and we have to listen. Sometimes we feel when people approach us with their issues that we have all the answers and we forget to listen. And I just want to charge us this morning that listening is a very crucial element to preventing suicide. The cost of a life is unquantifiable, and therefore demands urgent attention. Suicide, as I've stated before, is often the result of pain, hopelessness, disconnection, and despair. And I believe that the reason why people stay at my office from 4 in the morning until 10 in the evening is because they are feeling pain and they are in despair most of the time. And so it is always preventable through caring and compassion, commitment, and support. And some of my staff say to me, you can't do this. You cannot stay here till 10 o'clock in the night. Well, if they know the work I did before, sometimes I left in the morning. I therefore wish to take this opportunity to appeal to everyone here today to do your best. That's all. Just do your best in whatever way you can to reach out to individuals, since we do not know what their struggles are. As the Minister of Public Security has said, that in our efforts to reduce and eliminate the incidence of suicide in Guyana, we must also examine the legislation and policies that seems to offer